Hello traders, Steve here. It is Thursday the 16th of January 2025. Today we're just going to have a look at some of the big figure events from overnight, see how price responded. We're not going to do too much on the ASX 200 today. Price did make a price run higher in the last session, but we're just not doing a whole lot right now. So we'll have a look at the big figure. Again, here's just a bit of some basic configurations for you to take in. First up we have the Euro Aussie. So we can see here, this is the session, it's a 5-minute chart. We're looking at this big figure at 16600. Now the price run starts right up here, so you can see price consolidating, breaks through, so we start to bleed off. At this point it looks quite good, but then we start to do this very sideways move, and that's less inviting for us, because even if price does hit on this, we're going to have a fair bit of resistance on the way up. Ideally what we want is this type of situation where price breaks through, we start to see a couple of larger candles, then maybe the candles start to get a little bit smaller, price absorbs at the big figure, so virtually running out of sellers, they start to balance up again, and then we get a response off that big figure. Obviously that didn't happen. This was a news result here, so obviously we're not trading that. So we come through now, we're looking at another situation here today. Unfortunately we've got some Aussie unemployment information coming out shortly, so this will get in the way, and it's very low liquidity at the moment. But what we'll do is just, if price does come into this new big fresh figure at 65, we'll take it as an exercise trade just so we can feel it. So you should be taking more exercise trades than actually live trades, and you'll know then by going through that process which ones to take as live and which ones you should just leave alone but still participate in the price activity. Euro pound, so Euro's been bullish compared to the pound recently. This was quite nice how we had price break here again, 5-minute chart from yesterday's session. This was the news release here, so it comes through. We're looking for price to come a bit deeper. It gets as low as 04, can't quite get to the big figure, and then starts consolidating within this range. The liquidity drops off and it's deal over, so that one didn't happen. Again, even if we come down during this session now, the issue we're going to have, even if we do get a response, is that this is going to keep us in some level of pain. It's 5 pips, so you might be able to get that out and then just play with it until maybe Europe opens, and then you might get a bit of a spike higher. But that's the issue when price starts consolidating and then you start to get this resistance level. So the pound USD, or at least the pound, offered some opportunities in yesterday's session. So keep in mind we had CPI of the US. That did move price against the US dollar, so in this instance we're seeing the pound climb higher here. Now this is where it gets a little bit freakish, whether to take it or not. In this instance I waited for price to start to break down a little bit, because pound USD is probably one of the better pairs for trading the big figure. It really does work off the big figures quite well, better than the euro. So this is probably the number one pair for trading off the big figure, but you'll also have the volatility. So it came up to 23.06, came down here quite nicely. Then it looked like it's going to tease again and go high, couldn't get above that high, and then break down fairly aggressively, even to the point it went down to the next big figure and then responded off that again. So there were 2 possible trades there, just depending on your appetite for risk. But keep in mind the pound does like the big figure. Similar type of price action here on the pound against the CAD. Again, that run up during the CPI release, really looking like we're probably going to break higher here, especially on the smaller time frames, and yet it fails and comes back in, almost comes down to the next big figure as well. So what you wouldn't be doing, at least what I don't do, I wouldn't take the pound CAD and also the pound USD. Find one that really looks the best, the most appealing, and stick with that. Fine if they both win, but they could also both lose, so you've got to keep the other side of the risk in your mind as well. USD JPY, so the yen, it can also be tricky. It will go through periods where it will respond to the big figure in a very good way, and other times can blow through it. So that's why you want to be practicing, taking exercises on this, and you'll start to get a feel for when it's actually responding well to the big figure versus when it's just blowing through it. But same deal here again. This was the news event. Price comes down into the big figure, bounces off that, and then we go into a low liquidity state here. But you can see this situation. So it's just getting towards the end of the Asian session where it comes into the big figure and pounds right through it. So you would have been stopped out, but do keep in mind, I'm just showing you the 5-minute chart here. You also need to keep in mind what the larger time frames are doing and what the structure is. Euro yen again, bit tricky on this one, didn't respond too well. There are periods again where this will respond time after time off the big figures, but then there's times it won't. So best deal is to, as mentioned, just take exercise trades. You'll start to get a feel for it when you've seen it enough. So just quickly, back to the Euro Aussie again. Looking at this figure here, this isn't ideal type of price action. We're probably looking for more this type of structure, if anything, but this in a very low liquidity state. Obviously, it's in the off-market hours, so things don't look very good for us here, but things might pick up. What we'll do is in a separate video, if it does get into this big figure at 6,500, we'll record that trade and watch the management of that.